Hi everybody, thank you for joining us today. I'm Maria Schumer, Head of Marketing here at the Expatland Global Network, and today we have Anne Gale with us for Bank of New Zealand, who are our banking E-team member in Auckland. Anne will go through how your expat clients who are planning to move to New Zealand can get a head start by opening the bank account before they actually arrive. So I'll hand over to Anne and we can get started.
Thank you very much, Maria, for the introduction. I also have my colleague Chantal Grittenhill with me. Thank you everybody for attending. What I'd like to go through today is talking about the benefits of opening up a bank account pre-arrival, which is what we find is that bank accounts basically are not a very high priority on a migrant's list, and we would like to draw the attention to the migrant that it is very beneficial to open up the account pre-arrival and what the Bank of New Zealand can do to assist people moving into New Zealand. We have a very simple online application. There is no fees or deposits required when you submit the online application. They have the capability to open up a bank account with up to 12 months before they arrive in New Zealand. And also the benefit of having one of the bank accounts is also being able to transfer funds into the account before you arrive and taking opportunities of any favourable exchange rates which should come about prior to your arrival in New Zealand. Just one note, money can go in the account, but no withdrawals are permitted until your client has come into New Zealand and met with a banker and presented identification and address verification. All the relevant information on what they need to bring to the meeting to fully activate the account is actually sent out to them by email. Another benefit too is we register our clients for internet banking view only, which is a level of comfort for the clients because they can then see the money that they have transferred across and make sure that it has arrived safely in their account here in New Zealand. Another benefit of having the account is that when they come to New Zealand and need to apply for a tax number, and this can only be done once they have a fully active bank account, is that with having opened up the account pre-arrival, put money into the account, when they meet with their banker and provided they have given all the correct documentation, a withdrawal can then take place, and then the banker can give them a list of transactions. This list of transactions can then be used to apply for an IRD number or tax number online, and we understand that that is the quickest and easiest way to apply for a tax number here in New Zealand. Points to remember on the application form: your arrival date must be within 12 months. Your visa type is very important to us too. If you're coming in on a permanent resident, just use the returning resident visa type, otherwise the full application won't appear. The address, it's not a New Zealand address, it is your current residential address, so the address that you are currently residing at, and that is the address that we will require evidence of. For those people who might have just recently moved and just staying in a temporary accommodation with family for a few weeks before they leave, it is their most recent permanent residential address that they can then put on the application form, because quite often with temporary addresses, you don't have any evidence of the address that would meet our requirements. Tax identification number, this is known quite by different words throughout the world. We here call it tax identification. A lot of countries do call it a tax identification number. For example, in the UK, I know it's your national insurance number. In the US, it's your social security number. This is mandatory for us to have on the application format because we need to record this for the bank to be compliant with common reporting standards. Joint accounts, we do need separate email addresses for each of the applicants. I know a lot of people have family email addresses, but we do need a separate email address for each applicant because some of the information that we send out to the clients, especially in regards to the internet banking, is confidential to that client only. And another point with joint accounts is that if there is any possibility whatsoever that one person will be travelling ahead of the other person, please do not submit a joint account application, because the joint account cannot be activated until both people are here in New Zealand. So if there's any possibility whatsoever that one is coming ahead of the other, then always apply for individual accounts. And then once you come into New Zealand, it can all then get sorted out, and a joint account can be opened up when you meet with your banker. So are there any questions going forward?
So if anybody has any questions, you can please type it up in the Q&A panel in the Zoom interface that you'll be able to see. But a question that I have to mind, Anne, is if I'm opening a bank account in New Zealand and I'm putting funds into the bank account, why can't I withdraw it before I land?
Because we have not met you and we have not identified you as a person. Obviously, with an online application, we don't know who is submitted the application. And for us to be compliant with the anti-money laundering legislation, we have to actually meet the person in physical and actually know who they are.
All right, excellent. We have a question from Matt here who says, will you be covering company accounts, opening of company accounts or business accounts?
The online application is primarily for personal accounts. If you're wanting to open up business accounts and you're registered as a business in New Zealand, we can introduce you to a banker who will then pick up the conversation with the directors or the most person in person in regards to the company, and then the documentation will then be created and sent over and organised that way.
Okay, excellent. Another question is, can a personal account that's opened up with Bank of New Zealand only be in New Zealand dollars, or can it also be in a different foreign currency?
There is the option to select an account in foreign currency, especially if you're sending through large amounts. It can remain in the currency of your home country until you arrive in New Zealand, and then you can then talk to our international department and talk about exchange rates.
Excellent.
There are no fees on the foreign currency account until the customer comes into New Zealand. Once they come into New Zealand and activate the account, the monthly fee will apply, unless there is a minimum amount of around about 100,000 New Zealand. It seems to equate out to like in a US account, if they've got more than $65,000, then there's no fee on the account. But information on that can actually be found on the BNZ website.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time.
Lovely. Thank you very much for that, Miriam.
Excellent. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. Thank you for now.